Coming up in this one, I'm going to be talking about the videos released by Peaceful Lemon and the Leech Your Game. I'll be speaking honestly and clearing a few things up, as there seems to be a lot of misinformation and slanderous comments circulating about me because of these two. Towards the end of this video, I'll have a special guest joining us to explain in detail about some of the ways Lemon has been deceiving us all and how both he and his friend group tried to hide this information. Strap yourself in for this one. First of all, I want to talk about the part of Lemon's video where he suggests I'm a racist. He made it seem like I just found some poor innocent mother and started to send toxic messages to her. This person was in several of my older videos and was even in a video by Eliza. This is one of the most hate-filled, toxic people I've ever encountered in this game. Someone who stalked me on multiple accounts with 2 Xboxes and orbed me continuously with over 40 different accounts for weeks on end. She even sent me a bunch of toxic, hateful messages back then, too. There was nothing racist about me saying her child was an ugly monkey baby. It may have been a mean thing to say, but seeing as how all parties involved are white and Irish, I struggled to see how that could be misconstrued as racist. And I want to point out that yes, I can be quite toxic in messages to these types of players. I even show it in my videos, but I give back what I get. If people start being toxic with me, I'll give it right back to them with both barrels. Lemon had obviously been looking at my Xbox profile on a daily basis and noticed my followers there were being botted. He suggested that I was doing this myself for some reason, but if he did even the tiniest bit of research, he would have seen my post where I was complaining about a guy from one of my previous videos, someone whose ego was so bruised that he started paying for botted followers on my Xbox account, even openly admitting to it. He goes on to say that because he thought I was botting my Xbox followers, that I was probably faking my YouTube numbers too, and that he couldn't understand why people even watch my videos. This is textbook jealousy, or in his TikTok brain rot language, copium. So to clear up any doubts about this, I'm going to show you my YouTube analytics over the last 90 days. If I was botting my views, the click-through rate and average view duration would be absolute garbage. My numbers are slightly above average, but they are consistent, which is why my channel has been doing well lately. You can also see that traffic on my channel was all brought in from organic sources, meaning the YouTube home screen, suggested videos, and search results. If someone was botting views, their numbers wouldn't look anything like this. Lemon spoke about me collaborating with MetPro. I made 2 videos when I happened to bump into Metal on PS5. This was around 10 months ago. I haven't seen or heard from him since then. He goes on to talk about the inappropriate images on their Discord, and if it's true, it's disgusting. So I want to thank Lemon for pointing this out to me, and for helping keep the community safer with this information. I'm really glad to say I can instantly return the favor and warn Lemon and the wider community about a similar threat. Lemon's best friend for the last few years has allegedly been sending some of the most revolting messages I've ever seen, and he's allegedly been sending these to underage Discord users. So it might be worth reviewing your own friends list, Lemon. But seeing as how you're friends with openly racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic people, I'm interested to see where you draw the line and how low your moral compass can go. And speaking of his revolting friends, let's have a quick chat about the Leech Your Game and have a look at his channel and the kind of people who populate his comments section. When you go there first, you're greeted with this message telling you to be nice and that racism and hate speech is not allowed. He even spoke about moving on from his old toxic ways, but a few weeks later he puts up this disgusting, hateful post. But as bad as the post was, the comments were sickening. Imagine laughing your ass off at the thought of a child being abused. Shame on you, buddy. He was smart enough to remove this post and all the comments, but that only happened when he made a video with Eliza. Literally the next day, this post was taken down. This is Delete Your Game in a nutshell. A horrible little man-child who says disgusting things on a daily basis and doesn't even have the guts to stand by his hateful words when he thinks it will make him look bad. I want to point something out about this whole juice box emoji business. Lemon ignored this completely, but Delete Your Game came out and said this was his political opinion. This was a weak attempt to save face. A political opinion would be to call out the Israeli government for what's going on in Gaza. Using juice box emojis and talking about Jewish people in a derogatory way while allowing the people in their comments section to run wild is just so wrong. It's not a political opinion, it's just a way to express your hateful views. Call it what you want. Racist, anti-Semitic, bigotry. At the end of the day, it's just thinly veiled hate speech. I just want to speak for a minute about the off-radar glitch that I did a few years ago because a lot of you have been mentioning it. So about 3 years ago, before I had a YouTube channel, I was close to giving up on GTA. There were so many glitches that went unfixed. The agency God mode, the God mode speedo van, facility God mode, and multiple off-radar glitches. All of these on top of being stalked by toxic players and coming up against people using lag switches. I was ready to just give up completely. Then a friend of mine showed me how to do the casino off-radar glitch because it allowed you to see players who were doing the same glitch, meaning you could find them easy enough. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't take advantage of this glitch in the following weeks before it was patched, and I won't make excuses for what I was doing. It was wrong and I regret it. I had never done it before or since that time, but seeing Matt's video was embarrassing and I vowed to myself to never do that again. This was around the time I decided that instead of stooping to the level of these cheaters, that I would make a YouTube channel centered around fighting and exposing these types of players. But to people who say, how can I call Lemon out for cheating when I cheated too? It's not the same thing. I did an off-radar glitch a handful of times years ago. He built an entire career where he made us all believe that he was some kind of expert at the game when in the background he was using a mod menu. My previous video didn't focus enough on the PvP mods he used. I just spoke about the fact that he was definitely running a mod menu to crash people's games, a fact that he didn't dispute or talk about in his video. So here to talk about the technical facts about Lemon using PvP mods is a YouTuber you'll probably all know, Istura.
Hello everyone. Obviously I've been called out in Peaceful Lemon's SHNAKE Expose video, and a number of claims have been made. Firstly, that I have been faking evidence against Peaceful Lemon, going as far as to create fake clips about him.
Istura and his PvP Hub Discord server with almost 6,000 users even went as far as faking stuff about me, claiming things like me DDoSing people. It even got to the point where Istura and his PvP Hub members were faking clips about me.
He says that we used spoofed accounts to impersonate Lemon.
It's not hard to frame someone, especially when GTA 5 on PC back in 2023 had name spoofing through mod menus. Istura and his friends got plenty of friends with mod menus, so asking one of them to pretend to be me isn't far-fetched at all.
And resorting to create a fake Peaceful Lemon on stream to trick our audience into believing it was him.
During this stream, they decided to frame me. Istura and Joker asked one of their friends to create a Peaceful Lemon account and join into the session just so they could get kills on my character and flex with it to their viewers. Everyone in the chat thought it was actually me.
These things are false and can be very easily disproven. What's worse is that these aren't mistakes, oh no, but a very purposeful, intentional effort to deceive you, the audience. He knows that he was lying and chose to do it anyway. Don't believe me? Let me just show you an example off the bat.
Everyone in the chat thought it was actually me. There you can see just how far this entire group, Istura and his PvP Hub members, is willing to go.
This is obviously false, and is a very bad attempt at trying to deceive all of you, as if you simply just check the live stream that anyone can still access publicly. You can hear us say this.
Anybody wondering? No, we're not fighting the actual modder. This is just somebody else.
No, it ain't the real brother.
Sush, who is even playing on that account?
It's Lockheed from my Discord.
Oh, it's Lockheed!
It's clearly not him, but he chose to leave out this important piece of context out of his video in an attempt to trick all of you. It's so silly too, because it's so easy to disprove this lie. He's actively defaming everyone who took place in that stream knowingly. Not only that, he just makes basic mistakes, like thinking when Sushi's speaking, it's me.
Bro, you mad, ain't you? What the fuck? What the freak?
He clearly hasn't put any time or effort into his response. This is obviously someone who thinks they can get away with blatant lying. He claims we spread misinformation, yet he does it so blatantly. And unlike him, we have evidence to back up what we're saying. We don't need to lie, just like Peaceful Lemon just did. So going forward, just keep in mind how he thinks he can get away with lying. Peaceful Lemon is a modder. He has been known to be a modder for years. Not only did he mod under the old pseudonym Prinzuko, by crashing the games of people he disliked with mods, he's knowingly used others to do it for him for years after the fact. And not only that, there is strong evidence he has used such things as silent aimbot, going as far as to potentially have even used it against you versus Pro in their 1v1. Those are big claims, but I wouldn't be talking about them if I didn't think they were true and couldn't back them up. And not only that, I'm not the only one making the allegations, but Peaceful Lemon's own friends are doing it too. So firstly, did he used to crash people? Yes. He used to go by a different name, Prinzuko. And if you don't believe this is him, you can see the old TikToks of his that are still available to this day that use his name. Now, if you were back on PC around this time, you'd have heard that he was quite the prolific crasher and modder. But you don't have to take my word for it, because Peaceful Lemon has already confessed to doing this. Here, as you can see, we see that he is confronted by someone with screenshots saying that he crashed players who cheat in PvP. So, these screenshots essentially show that Lemon is admitting to crashing players. His defense against this is that since spoofed accounts exist, anyone could have been saying this. It might not be him making this confession. And he's right. Besides the fact that he posts his own screenshots from the exact same conversation, showing it was in fact him. But there's also another issue, because when confronted about this conversation in Discord, he doesn't deny it's him or defend himself. He doubles down and agrees that he crashes people. This is Peaceful Lemon's old Discord account, and as you can tell through the mutual friends list, and old screenshots of him sharing his old deleted videos, this is obviously the real him. One thing to point out is that he says that he only crashed people that cheat heavily in PvP. This could potentially be a defensible point to make, but he's lying about it, as many videos created around the time he was active as Prinzuko show him primarily crashing players for simply killing him in-game. Now, I have no doubt that most of the players he did crash were probably really sweaty, toxic PvP players, using all manner of god mode glitches and whatnot. And his defense will be that it's justified to crash these players because they were playing dirty. But the problem is that Lemon also played this exact same way, as you can see throughout his entire video catalogue, using glitches like the RC Bandito glitch. He has no leg to stand on for crashing people for playing toxic in PvP, when he's been doing that his entire GTA career. Not to mention hiding in lobbies that have been locked so nobody can join him out of fear. Alongside bragging about harassing people with his mods. These clips of him crashing people are the clips he referred to as me faking in his response. Yet, if you simply observe the clips, you can in fact see they are real. Notable PvP players on PC are playing alongside Lemon in these lobbies, such as his friend Pyron. For his claim to be true, I'd have needed to somehow get several people with mod menus to come together and name spoof everybody in these lobbies. Then, afterwards, get people I didn't even know existed at the time to upload them for me onto their YouTube channels, and then wait 4 years to make this video with said evidence. It seems a little far-fetched. What actually happened was that I began my investigation. I looked around in public places that anyone can access and simply found the evidence people had compiled over the years and just added it to my files. Now, he knows these screenshots exist, despite not choosing to address them in his response video to SHNAKE. Weird how he ignored those, right? He chose to conveniently not address them at all. I have actually been in contact with Peaceful Lemon throughout this entire process through a third party, that being a strange creepy fellow by the name of Pyron, who you're obviously already familiar with. Pyron is an old, experienced GTA Online player on PC, and is close friends to Peaceful Lemon, going as far as to inviting him to his PvP crew and making him a high-ranking member. Through Pyron, I knew that any message would be relayed back to Lemon, which was later proven to be true through his response, as Lemon showed a leaked DM from between me and Pyron. So for whatever reason, Pyron was the messenger between us in that moment. So, when confronted with these screenshots showing that I knew that he had crashed people, and admitting to it, what was his defense against being caught in 4K on Discord? He said that he was just joking when he said that. Literally bringing out the "it's just a prank bro" defense in the year of our Lord 2025. Shameful. You, the viewer, can decide on what's more likely. Considering just how important his reputation as the best player is to him above all else, I don't think admitting that you crash people as a joke helps that. But to move on, speaking to Lemon's good friend Pyron bore more fruit than I had anticipated. Unfortunately for him, for the past year I had infiltrated his crew and became his friend and somewhat gained his trust. As a result, he let a few things slip about Lemon that he probably shouldn't have. For instance, he admitted that Lemon had friends crashing people for him as well. People will make the claim that Lemon was weird back in the day, that he was a modder and crashed people ages ago. But today, he's a changed man. He stopped all of that years ago. Well, sadly, for all of you that may believe this, recoil, that was a lie. I have it on good authority that at least one key person doing the crashing for Lemon was a player by the name of Demon Barnes, a fairly notorious modder on PC. To prove this is real, when confronted about a separate crashing issue, where once again Lemon had bragged about crashing another GTA Online player, he slipped up whilst trying to defend himself, saying that it wasn't him doing it, but watching as Demon, referring to Demon Barnes, was messing with him by crashing him and keeping him in story. This screenshot was accidentally provided to me by our good friend Pyron, who was leaking Peaceful Lemon's DMs to me every now and again given he thought I was his friend. Thank you. Now, whether Lemon or Demon Barnes or anyone else in that little Barnes family is crashing players on Lemon's behalf, the result is the same. Lemon is benefiting from mods to gain an unfair advantage, knowingly and purposefully. He will try and squirm out of this by pointing out a false hypocrisy between him sending his modder attack dog to crashing people's games whenever they log on, and others having a modder locker session to prevent it from being crashed. For instance, good friend Pyron points out that even U vs Pro has been in lobbies where a modder has locked a session to try and stop harassment. And it's true, that has happened in lobbies he's been in. Even I've been a part of lobbies where someone has brought a modder in to prevent from being harassed. But I hope you can probably see the difference in preventing harassment and causing the harassment itself. The funniest and saddest part about Lemon denying the fact that he mods is that even his own friends won't even deny it, because of how obvious it is. It's no secret within the PC scene that he's a cheater. It's an openly discussed topic by even those closest to him. Yet he still tries his best to deny it to protect his reputation, when even players he admits that are his friend will gladly admit that he mods too. Now, he can call his friends liars as well, but I doubt he'd want to say that this group of players are all liars, given what he knows they can do to someone when you get on their bad side. Now, I have no doubt that his modder friend also protected him in justified ways against justified targets too, since everyone on PC has been modded against in one way or another. However, in these screenshots, you can clearly see that Lemon had him crashed, literally only just for running his mouth, alongside saying he added his Rockstar ID to a list, so he could get someone to mod join his games to further harass him later on, simply for showcasing a video where somebody got kills on Lemon. He can't make the argument that he's solely using a modder to protect against other modders, when it's clear he's just simply harassing someone he doesn't like in an ego-fueled power trip. Everything you've seen up until now is why he is referred to by everyone as a modder. And in saying he is a modder, you'd be correct, because he harassed people with his mods. Naturally, as newer players come into the community, they don't know about this. They'll clash with the older players who lived through that experience. But there's a reason why nobody has forgiven him for this, namely, because he still denies it. I gave him the opportunity to come clean about the crashing, to clear up that confusion between newer and older players. Yet, he refused. If he wanted to turn over a new leaf, he could have admitted his wrongdoings and move on. But instead, he still lies about it and denies it to this day. And as a result, there are many people who won't let what he did go. But let's tackle the big stuff. Does Peaceful Lemon use Triggerbot, Silent Aimbot, or something akin to it? I'll let you make up your mind for yourself. But first, you have to know how both work. Triggerbot presses the fire button for you when your crosshair swipes over an enemy, even the smallest of pixels. It doesn't actually affect how you aim, however. You move the mouse yourself, so it wouldn't be picked up in a handcam, for instance. It's just that it clicks fire automatically for you. Silent Aimbot, however, is a more nefarious tool. There are many ways to create a silent aimbot, but the most popular for GTA Online is by creating a bullet out of thin air and giving that bullet a coordinate to aim for. For instance, a chest or a head. This is usually created by modders using the shoot single button between chords command in the game's code, which I'm just showcasing for proof that this is how it works. Also, for Triggerbot, you can enable a magic bullet option, which is a form of silent aim, that works alongside the Triggerbot to ensure your shots always land. GTA Online snipers are hit scan based weapons, meaning the game doesn't physically spawn the bullet in the world and is affected by wind and drop and stuff like that. Hit scan works by drawing a ray, or for layman's terms, a line from the crosshair, and if that line hits an enemy, a shot is registered instantly, for the most part. However, the game does spawn two things when firing: bullet smoke, and most importantly, a bullet tracer. These are the little lines that spawn when you fire your weapon. A very good key to predicting if someone is using Silent Aimbot is by examining these tracers. Now, if I showcase a video where someone is using Silent Aimbot, you will notice that the tracers behave much differently. They spawn most, if not every single shot, and they shoot at odd angles you wouldn't expect. The tracer should spawn from the barrel, or along the path where you shot, not from these weird angles, especially vertically, since based on perspective, you should only see them horizontally. You will notice that these tracers will hit their target with pinpoint precision, and almost seem to track their target like a dart. This is a clear example of Silent Aimbot, obviously. So, shall we see Peaceful Lemon's clips? The worst example for this, for me, is Lemon's 1v1 against you versus Pro. There are a lot of weird tracer shots in this fight, specifically around the docks, but the most egregious is this. A very clear and obvious example of a silent aim tracer hitting you versus Pro's chest. The line spawns out of thin air and redirects into you versus Pro's chest. This is even worse when you consider the fact that you can see the blood splatter spawn in a completely different spot away from where the bullet tracer lands. Then, even worse, in the exact following shot, we see another one of these tracers spawn and hit you versus Pro in the chest, which finishes him off. Not only do we see other examples of tracers in this fight, the way it moves to track you versus Pro's chest, almost like a needler dart from Halo, is an embarrassing display of silent aim. Just putting these two clips side by side, you can clearly see the similarity. Bullets in GTA Online do not act like this. They don't magically spawn vertically out of thin air to hit the body. They don't move to track their target, and they don't act like this. And there are hundreds of examples throughout Peaceful Lemon's entire video catalogue. It is possible for legit tracer shots to show up during legit gameplay, but only under very specific circumstances. Because of the fact you can see them during legit gameplay sometimes too, you must examine the behaviour to make an accurate determination. However, with this you versus Pro example, there's no such defence. It's not even close to anything legit, and much closer to silent aim. As a result, it makes you bring everything else in the past into question. But you don't even have to take my word for it, because Peaceful Lemon and Pyron brought in one of their close friends who is knowledgeable in GTA Online modding to examine the footage, and his conclusion will shock you. Even Peaceful Lemon's own expert concluded that he was likely modding. And this is where they would go on to beg me to not release any footage because it would harm the PvP community, from their perspective. If Peaceful Lemon was innocent, why was his best friend begging me behind the scenes to not release any evidence? This should show you exactly how innocent Peaceful Lemon actually is. One more thing I want to address, his handcams. He uses these handcam videos as proof he's not cheating, painstakingly so, but you can actually disguise this, and he knows that. In any trigger bot and silent aimbot worth its salt, you can bind your mouse 1 button, which is the fire button, to activate both at the same time, meaning that you can disguise your clicks as legitimate shots, when in reality, you're using mouse 1 to activate your trigger bot and silent aim scripts. Peaceful Lemon as an experienced player should know this, that handcam footage can be disguised as legitimate. The actual value in handcam footage is to see if your clicks sync up with your shots, to determine if the shots are legit and you're hitting them yourself. But Peaceful Lemon freely admits that his handcam footage isn't synced. So what's the point in even showing it, let alone using it as evidence of your innocence? Not to mention, he slaps on ugly filters on all of his handcam footage, meaning that even if we wanted to see if the shots sync up, we can't, because he's purposefully making his handcam footage harder to see. He's banking on your inexperience in the subject, since most people believe that handcam equals legit, to trick you into believing he is legit. But he, and I, and other experienced players know that not only can you fake it, you need to sync your shots to prove your legitimacy. This all began with me starting to make a video a while back about numerous PC players on TikTok using closet cheats for views, and Peaceful Lemon just happened to be one of those names. But after a year of lies and deceit, and most likely cheating during an important 1v1 versus pro, he had to take somewhat of a priority. Peaceful Lemon was a cheater back in the day, it's confirmed. Based off this alone, you can call him a modder. But after admitting to using others to crash players for him later on, as well as everything Peaceful Lemon's own expert witness said, we can also conclude that he continues to cheat wherever possible up until today. But why though? Why go this far? I believe Peaceful Lemon to be a very insecure individual, and his entire personality shows that. It's 2025, little bro. Nobody cares if you are the best GTA 5 player. GTA 6 is literally around the corner. Take the fight he showed in his response video.
Look at the way I caught him on PlayStation a few weeks ago. Does it look like Istura has any say PvP-wise? Punch in the air, rage, quitting and everything. You gotta be crazy if you think he knows anything about PvP.
He found me on PS5 and got an epic 3-0 against me. Very sad indeed. I was distraught. However, sadly despite his best attempts to blare out his name, I had the whole session recorded and it went quite differently than he portrayed. I was getting scramjet footage for my next video in Bad Sport, and whilst fighting the rest of the lobby, a random came up to me and got 3 kills on me. Very sad. What he didn't show was the Evo loop he was stuck in for a good 5 minutes after the fact, where he was scared to get killed by me in an 11-year-old online video game. The funny part was, since I'm obviously making a scramjet video, I was desperate for footage of people killing me with the railgun in the air specifically, to use as an example. I literally even resorted to making scripted clips just so I had enough footage for the video. But in my fight, unknowingly against Peaceful Lemon, he couldn't even hit me once because he was too busy evoing. For someone with the best aim in GTA, his aim was quite poor and set my video back a few days. Thank you for that, Peaceful Lemon. I really appreciate it. I'm fine with Peaceful Lemon being better at me at GTA. I grant him the desirable reward of being better than me, the silly GTA sans. I just don't know why he thinks that's a highly sought after reward. His whole persona kinda crumbles when you realise that he probably cares just a little bit too much. He's like an Arson Y that uses an AI voice. Nobody has a problem with Arson being better than them. He's definitely better than me at the game. It's all the other stuff that people take issue with. Same with you, my lemony friend. Peaceful Lemon tries to act tough on an 11-year-old video game and brags about shooting people in his TikTok comment section despite wearing Mickey Mouse gloves whilst he plays because he's too scared to show his hand tattoos. Whenever he tries to act tough on the car shooting game again, just remember you're playing against this. I'm perfectly happy being bad at the game. I just want to make my silly videos. What I hope to never be is cringe like Peaceful Lemon. The funny thing is, Lemon called me out in his SHNAKE response for helping me make it, when in reality, as shown in these screenshots here, I had actually no part to play in it, since I didn't even see his message asking to help with that video. One more little lie he said, of course. But you can probably tell I did help out with this one. Thanks for bringing us together, Lemon. Your lie about my initial involvement really was the glue that held this little partnership together. Okay, that's me done. I'm glad to finally have this behind me. Thanks for watching my entire segment, Recoil. You've done an amazing job at reacting.
In this next clip, Lemon is showcasing a video released by George King. This clip and George's thumbnail both make me out to be a cargo griefer, but I'm going to show you what actually happened here. I saw two players inside a Hunter helicopter going after an MC president who was trying to run cargo. They killed him and then went back to blow up his supplies. So I shot those two guys out of their helicopter a few seconds later. A little while later, I was chasing them down while they drove an armored police van. This showed up saying I destroyed heist prep equipment. But if you look back at the mini-map, there was no special blip saying they were doing work. Not that I would have cared. They were cargo griefers anyway. But George didn't go after those guys. For some reason, he came after me instead. And yet another thing I have to correct Lemon on is this. He says I'm on top of a building using thermals. You can clearly see I'm not. But from here, I played fair and took my deaths like a man, even though I was fighting multiple people, not just George. You can see the Brown CEO here is not my friend, yet Lemon said me and my friends teamed up against George, when the real reason multiple people were attacking him is because he started fights with multiple people. Now this was all a big misunderstanding and mistakes were made on both sides. George and I even spoke about it afterwards and moved on. But I do find it kind of funny how George is trying to use this Lemon situation as an opportunity to garner some attention for himself. He's been tagging me in posts for the last few days, but I've just ignored him so he could make his video thinking I didn't have the original one to show what actually happened. And for anyone else wondering why I made that video private, it's because I used real music in it and had to remove the songs. Same with a lot of my original videos. This meant there were large portions of those older videos with absolute silence, so I decided to just take them all down. Being an anti-griefer, I've made thousands of enemies over the years. There's a lot of people out there who legitimately hate me because I've stopped them from ruining the game for other people and exposed them on YouTube. And lately, some of them are crawling out of the woodwork and tagging me in posts and uploading out of context clips in attempt to make me look bad when the full story is rarely ever shown. Have I teleported away from people? Yes. Have I EWO'd in the past, on a very rare occasion? But I don't make a habit of it. I don't start fights with people and then play like a coward. I've shown plenty of videos where I get destroyed while being outnumbered. I still stand my ground. But at the same time, I'm not a punching bag for these people. If I'm not in the mood of getting farmed by groups of players who team up against me and still play dirty, I don't have to stick around for it. I've showed you that the racist claims about me were incorrect, that I'm not, as Lemon said, linked with a predator, and I've openly admitted to my wrongdoings from the past. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Which is why I would really like to see Lemon come out and admit to his mod menu usage. Nobody is going to blacklist you for it. You're still a very good player, and you make very entertaining videos. I think people would have a huge respect for you if you spoke about it. Removed the hate speech from your YouTube channel. Stopped the Score Warrior playstyle and just had some fun with the game. I want this beef to end. You dragged this up after almost a year when you told everyone I tried to jump you. When you knew deep down it wasn't me, but yet you tried your best to embarrass me. To keep blaming me for restarting the beef is unfair. And it's unfair to complain that I called Delete the leech, when your entire video you were labeling me as a lizard. I'm not saying I want to be friends with either of you, but I want to be able to play the game on PlayStation without you guys joining my sessions. I want to be able to turn on YouTube without seeing my name slandered for absolutely no reason. At some point, one of us just needs to stop this nonsense.